are these people?
But also, it appears that we are abandoning, quote unquote, Ukraine. Now, we know that it's not going to totally be. All right. We know that effectively what this means is that we're moving on. All right. And Zelensky is going to be a very sad boy. All right.
Maybe.
But
Maybe not.
I don't think that Trump wants war with Russia. I think that he's got hawks in his cabinet that do. He's got hawks around him that certainly do. All right. But it's official, according to Kit Klarenberg, U.S. is abandoning Ukraine. And the reason why he said this, and I will give credit also to our friend, the Dissident, who wrote up a very similar article around the same time and published it about the Biden administration lying about the Ukraine proxy war. Okay, that they knew that Ukraine would lose it from day one. And now we are admitting that and effectively moving on. So again, this is from Indie Media Award honoree Kit Klarenberg, class of 2022. One of the faves, friend of the show, friend of INN, friend of Misty's, friend of independent media in general. He's a good dude, and he's got great reporting. So what he says here was that on January 19th, Time magazine published an astonishing article. All right. By the way, Active Measures is his podcast and his show with Alex Rubenstein, Klarenberg, and Rubenstein. If you have not seen that, you're missing out. Fantastic freaking show. Unbelievable. And I think they talked about this, but they're not the only ones. And that's why, I don't want them to be the only ones. So I want to give a shout out to Kit's work. So Time magazine published the astonishing article, amply confirming what dissident anti-war academics, activists, journalists, and researchers have argued for a decade, that the U.S. always intended to abandon Ukraine after setting the country up for proxy war with Russia, and never had any desire or intention to assist Kiev in defeating Moscow in the conflict, let alone achieving any of its maximalist aims of regaining Crimea and restoring the country's 1991 borders. Yeah, right? All right. To have a major mainstream outlet finally corroborate this indubitable reality is actually a seismic development. All right. This is what Kit means. So there's even more. The Time article's brief first paragraph alone is rife with explosive revelations. It notes that when the proxy war erupted in February 2022, then President Joe Biden set 3 objectives for the U.S. response, and Ukraine's victory was never among them. Oh, man, did they get played. Moreover, the phrase oft repeated by White House apparatchiks that Washington would support Kiev for as long as it takes was never meant to be taken literally. Instead, it was just intentionally vague news speak with no
vague news. I like that.
Right? Vague news, right? With vague no implied time frame. No implied time frame or even desired outcome in mind. What's a win? Eric Green, a member of his National Security Council who oversaw Russia policy, those guys did real well, states that the U.S. deliberately made no promise to Zelensky, Koki Smurf, to recover all of the land that Russia had occupied since the conflict's inception, and certainly not Crimea or even the breakaway Donetsk and Lugansk republics. Those are gone. Those are gone. Those were already determined, gone in February 2022. He said the White House believed doing so was well beyond Ukraine's ability, even with robust help from the West. It was well understood such efforts were not going to be a success story ultimately for Kiev if tried. That's a great quote. They were not going to be a success story ultimately. As a way to gloss that over. How many people would be murdered as a result of that? All right. According to Time, the Biden administration's 3 key objectives in Ukraine were all achieved. Come on, that's why we're getting out, because we're done. We did what we wanted to do. Did you know that, Reef? We achieved our goals.
What was the goal?
Well, there were 3 of them. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So, nonetheless, Success on these fronts provides little satisfaction to some of the former president's closest allies and advisors. Like the entire Ukrainian population. Some of them. All right. Green was quoted as saying Washington's purported victory in Ukraine was unfortunately the kind of success where you don't feel great about it due to Kiev's suffering and so much uncertainty about where it's ultimately going to land. Maybe like Libya-ish, with Nazis taking over the country within the next 3 years would be my prediction, but I'm just speculating. Now, one objective was avoiding direct conflict between Russia and NATO. Now, amazingly, they claim victory here, miraculously, despite the U.S. and its allies consistently crossing Moscow's clearly stated red lines on assistance to Kiev, providing Ukraine with weaponry and other support that Biden himself explicitly and vehemently ruled out in March 2022 on the grounds that it would cause World War III, and greenlighting hazardously escalatory strikes deep inside Russian territory. So far, all-out hot war has failed to materialize. Oh, let's not forget about what was the irradiated oh God, what the hell was it? The shells that had radiation stuff in them.
Yeah.
All right. On this front,
Depleted
perhaps.
uranium.
Right. Thank you. I couldn't. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's why you're here.
Thank you.
You do that for me sometimes
I remember
too.
some things.
Yay!
I remember some things.
When I'm riffing.
Occasionally.
Forget it. He's going. I feel like I'm doing when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor. No, I know that's from. It's misinformation. Don't take me down YouTube. That's a line from Animal House. Come on, it's a joke.
Yeah.
All right. Now, one objective again was avoiding the conflict. The president triumphed, kind of, even though we did everything to try to provoke it. But I guess we didn't have an all-out direct conflict between NATO and Russia yet. That still might happen, and his provocation certainly would cause that. However, another one of the objectives was for Ukraine to survive as a sovereign democratic country free to pursue integration with the West. This prospect dwindles daily as the proxy war's front line teeters constantly on total collapse. Kiev is facing an eventual and seemingly inevitable rout of some magnitude, with the conflict likely settled solely on Russia's terms, and Zelensky, or whoever replaces him, having no negotiating position to speak of with Trump. All right, Koki Smurf is really crying already about money, and we need weapons, we need men, you need to send us 200,000 fighters. I don't think so. In December 2024, Empire House Journal Foreign Policy, that's garbage, right? Empire House Journal, even openly advocated cutting Kiev out of eventual peace talks. It's not Kiev you have to worry about anyway, it was the Brits, and that's what he's going to say. Biden also wanted the U.S. and its allies to remain united. It is in this objective that most obviously failed, and quite spectacularly. As that journalist, Kit Klarenberg, again Indie Media Award honoree, member of the Grey Zone UK, repeatedly documented, British intelligence has consistently sought to escalate the proxy conflict into all-out war between the West and Russia, and encourage Kiev in its maximalist aims to the extent of covertly plotting grand operations for the purpose and training Ukrainians to execute them. Hello, Nord Stream, Kursk Bridge, etc., etc., etc. London's overriding ambition, per leaked documents, is to, quote, keep Ukraine fighting at all costs. It's not us, it's them. They want this. Why? The Western media has acknowledged Ukraine's calamitous August 2024 invasion of Russia's Kursk region was, to all intents and purposes, a British operation. London provided a vast welter of equipment to Kiev, central to the effort, all right, and closely advised their Ukrainian counterparts on strategy. Right? The aim was to draw Russian forces away from Donbass and boost Kiev's bargaining position, which has proven a staggering embarrassment on both fronts. But there was a wider, more insidious goal behind the incursion. Britain openly and eagerly advised its fundamental role in the Kursk misadventure to bolster public support at home for continuing the proxy war and to persuade key allies to do more to help. In other words, to normalize open Western involvement and create the direct conflict that the Biden administration was so keen to avoid. So London was also at the forefront, we said, of pressuring NATO member states to permit Ukraine to use foreign supplied weaponry like, the depleted uranium and material inside Russia, which could likewise produce their long-sought hot war against Moscow.
Yep.
All right. Several Western countries, including the U.S., have offered such authorization. That alone is worthy of Russia attacking us if they wanted to. They are justified at that point. Yes, Russia has consistently... I certainly hope not, but it wouldn't shock me. All right. Russia, Russian scum. Where's that clown? I'm waiting for you to play that stupid soundbite. All right. Yet Russia has consistently responded to strikes deep inside its territory. Scum. Thank you. With heavy-duty counterattacks, which Kiev has been unable to repel because they don't know how to defeat hypersonic missiles. It's kind of a problem. Mm-hmm. We don't either, by the way.
But they stole that from us. They stole it from us, Indy. They took it up. They took ours. We totally have them.
They took our germs.
We use them all the time.
They took our germs. They took our missiles.
It's our idea. They took our idea.
Well, they do that all the time. They do that, and we take theirs, and that's how it works. All right.
What am I going to do?
Exactly. By the way, I found something with that in it the other day. I was like, oh my God, they're back.
Did you?
Oh, yeah.
They're back. Right?
In November 2024. All right. Oh, what did I miss? Meanwhile, London's invitation to its allies to become more overtly involved in the proxy war was evidently rebuffed. They said, fuck that, especially Germany. I hear Pupper's barking, so he's got to go take care of that. He can still hear us. All right. But in November 2024, too, not November 2nd, but in the month of November as well, pro-government outlet Ukrainska Pravda published a startling investigation documenting in forensic detail how the October 23rd through June 2024 Krinky operation was a la Kursk, essentially British. No, come on, you don't say. Never spoken of by Ukrainian officials today, the 9-month effort saw wave after wave of British trained and equipped Marines attempt to secure a beachhead in a river-adjacent village in Russian-controlled Kherson. Poorly prepared, many died attempting to reach Krinky due to relentless artillery, drone, flamethrower, and mortar fire. Could you imagine being set up and sent on a beach being fucking fired on by flamethrowers and flame-throwing drones? Jesus Christ.
Mm-hmm.
Of those that survived the night...
do it, baby.
Wait. Of those that survived the nightmarish journey, most of them were then killed under a constant and ever-intensifying blitz in marsh conditions. Ooh. Russia's onslaught grew so inexorable, evacuating casualties or providing forces with even basic supplies became borderline impossible. All right. This is from History Legends, a pretty large channel about what happened there.
Krinky.
Survivors of the Krinky catastrophe, one of the absolute worst in military history, all right, who spoke to Ukrainska Pravda, revealed that it was hoped that the beachhead would be a game changer. Wait, you ready for this one? opening a second front in the conflict, allowing Kiev's invading Marines to march upon Crimea, an all-out victory in the proxy war. All right, I love this line. They hope to recreate the June 1944 Normandy landings D-Day. Where they just sacrificed like 97% of the guys there to get 17 guys through.
Yep.
It's all too easy to envisage British intelligence filling the heads of their Ukrainian trainees with such fantasies. Instead, they all got mowed down because it isn't 1944.
Also, it's just a highly misunderstanding of the D-Day landing.
We're going to take that beachhead.
The smallest, the beachhead that's the least defended. That we completely tricked them to thinking we were going to go to the most defended area. No, now it's just into the most defended area and see if they can make it. What?
All right. So, right. Fast forward to today, and Britain and France are openly discussing sending peacekeepers to Ukraine to help underpin whatever the post-war settlement emerges between Kiev and Moscow. This is after last February, about a year ago, French president at the time, Emmanuel Macron, suggested formally deploying his country's forces to Ukraine to halt Moscow's advance. That was rebuffed quickly. The proposal was summarily dropped and forgotten when, Russian officials made it abundantly clear that each and every French soldier dispatched to the front line would be killed without hesitation, and Paris could become a formal belligerent in the war. Yeah, Macron, he's a banker and a neolib. He does not take kindly to being threatened by KGB ex-spies like Putin, who've been president of his country for 30 years now, almost. All right. It appears that the peacekeeping plan, quote, in quotes, is likely to suffer the same fate. On January 20th, coincidentally or not, the day of Donald Trump's inauguration, CIA created Radio Free Europe published an explainer guide on why sending European troops to Ukraine is a non-starter. Among other things, as the Russians are unambiguously winning, they are unlikely to offer many concessions, particularly allowing foreign soldiers to occupy Kiev's territory. Furthermore, as a permanent member of the UN Security Council, Moscow can block any peacekeeping mission. So forget UN peacekeepers right there. All right. You think that Putin's going to allow UN peacekeepers into Kiev when all the rest of them are from NATO? I don't think so. As if the message to London and Paris wasn't emphatic enough, 2 weeks earlier at a press conference at Mar-a-Lago, Trump made numerous comments reiterating his commitment to ending the proxy war. Now, we've seen that may not be completely true, but so far it seems so. We're going to have to settle up with Russia. All right. Notably, I know you think we got to ask the Russians.
Let me call the Russians to help.
There you go. Notably, the president sympathized with Moscow's written in stone determination that Kiev not be enrolled in NATO, and warned that the situation could escalate to be much worse, and stated his hope that the conflict could be wrapped up within 6 months. That'd be nice. I mean, I think that he's much more worried about BRICS, and they're trying to dominate this hemisphere and the sphere of influence here much more than they can in the Middle East and East. Yep. That's my own opinion here, and it's not just mine. I've heard that from others as well. Markedly, Zelensky was not present at Trump's inauguration. In a J6 interview with Newsweek, it's weird. Why would you interview a Ukrainian president on January 6th? I guess that just happened to be the day. All right. The Ukrainian president, well, actually, he's now a dictator because he was elected, but he's well past his term and is continuing to be the president without allowing the country to hold elections. So that's not really a president, technically, kid. All right. Typically never one to shy away from international jollies, said he would like to attend, of course, but he received no invitation. In a rambling response, he said he was not sure it's proper to come, given that particularly during the war, sources close to Trump have claimed that, on the contrary, Zelensky repeatedly asked to attend but was rebuffed. Of course he wanted. Yeah, dude, you're out. That's the other reason why they think they're going to wrap this thing up. Because they're talking to Putin and they're not talking to Koki Smurf. All right? For Berlin, Kiev, London, Paris, and NATO more widely, the writing couldn't be more on the wall any more plainly. Whatever reveries they may have of maintaining the proxy war any longer, Britain recently signed a 100-year-long partnership with Ukraine, under which London will explore building military bases on Kiev soil. That's again openly escalating to outwar between Britain and Russia. They all ultimately remain imperial vassals, wholly dependent on U.S. financial and military support to exist. Save for a major false flag incident, Trump's message can only be received
at any time.
Yes, but Trump's message could only be received among the military alliance. Okay. Again, Kit Klarenberg, Global Delinquents. Go ahead.
Yep. No, you're going to say that Kit Klarenberg has things people should subscribe to and possibly even support monetarily.
Yes, for sure.
Good for him.
He's got Global Delinquents. He's got Active Measures. He certainly does. And he's got the Gray Zone UK.
His own Substack.
That's Global Delinquents.
He writes for many a publication. You can check him out in Mint Press. You could check him out in Consortium. You could check him out at SheerPost even, I think.
Well, that's when they pick up the stuff from Mint Press usually. But also he's written for Al Mayadeen and a couple of others as well. That's that segment right there. So we definitely don't get monetized for stuff like that. So if you are able to and of means, we could really use your support. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. If not, share the stream, tell your friends. The way that you can support this network financially the best and leave us a tip would be to give us a Cash App that takes no fees or very minimal fees whatsoever. Ko-fi takes almost no fees whatsoever. PayPal is small. And then you could also subscribe to the INN newsletter. That uses Stripe, and we talked about Stripe last week. I'd prefer that we not use Stripe if we didn't have to. But whatever you guys are, whatever everyone is willing to do, guys, ladies, everyone, for real, thank you. Really appreciate all the support we could possibly get.
You can't keep giving us nothing and think we're bluffing about coming for your heads. Why play civil if you won't listen? To 50,000 dead, and now we know our mission. We form a militia, make Congress a prison.